Alright everybody, welcome back to another video. I finally finished the update, if you see on the update log, I have every single character here except Blast, but since he's an exotic, he will definitely not be good. But besides Blast, I have every character. As you can see, I have Phantom Boss, I have Gon, I have all of them. But sadly, I didn't manage to get good trait on most of them. Like for example, I got glitch on both HISOKA and CHROLLO, but I only managed to get one avatar, which is on Gon. Wait, two actually. Gon and KILLUA. KILLUA is also avatar. So yeah. So in this video, I'm gonna review all of the new character. So before that, let me actually show you guys all of the cosmetic of the new character. So yeah, I'm gonna do a showcase of all of the new character, and I will also be giving my thoughts and how to actually use the character. This is going to be Phantom Boss's cosmetic. Pretty bad in my opinion, but the animation is pretty cool. And this is going to be Gon one, and as you expected, the giant hair, the pose, and with the green aura. And then the next is HISOKA, which is in my opinion one of the sick one. This is similar to that one character from Blue Lock pose, the one that's sitting down. And then we have KURAPIKA, I think that's his name, which is you just basically wear his clothes. And then for KILLUA, which is pretty sick. I don't like that Anime Last Stand for cosmetic. You actually wear the character clothes, which I don't think you need to do. I don't know why they do that. And then lastly, this is Needle Assassin Manipulator cosmetic. So yeah, out of all of them, obviously HISOKA has the best cosmetic. So yeah, let me actually wear the HISOKA cosmetic. So yeah, let's do a showcase on all of the unit now. As always, Abandoned Cathedral. Alright, now that we're in game, let's do the showcase. First of all, let's do the showcase on HISOKA himself. HISOKA is the hardest character to get in the entire update because he requires you to actually get almost every single character because he is a drop from the rank 2 boss, and for his evolve item is from the rank 3 boss. So yeah, so let's turn on the animation and shadow. I don't think we need shadow. So yeah, so let's start the showcase. First of all, HISOKA, he's going to be a ground only on placement. He's going to be a physical and fire element as well. He's going to cost 1.5k to place down, so that's quite a lot. So yeah, so he's definitely, from the looks of it, not going to be what's it called, an early placement unit, but we'll see. So this is HISOKA. His animation is him throwing the the card, which is pretty sick. Now he's going to be a slow unit, which is kind of surprising because we haven't gone a single slow unit in such a long time. So yeah, his stat is going to be 2.1 million with glitch and attack on enchant, no skill tree, level 85, triple S everything, 40 range and 4.4 second SPA. And he going to have two passive on placement. The first one is called Stretchy Gum. When attacking an enemy affected by slow, remove the slow and reapply a stranger slow with 5% more slow than the previous instant, which max at 70% slow cap. Okay, that's pretty good. So he's basically like has a better slow as his passive. Okay, and let's place Gon at the back for extra defense because he's hybrid. And his second passive is called Sneak Attack. When an ability has been used in range, self-stun for 10 seconds, and then once the stun is lifted, target the two strongest enemy in range, dealing 20 times damage, and apply Hemorrhage and Extinguish. And he will also gain plus 5% damage in range, which will max at 20%. And then this passive has a 30-second global cooldown. Okay. From the looks of it, immediately I can tell that this guy is a support character, obviously. And he's going to have a upgrade. New attack called Full House, which turned him into a cone AoE, and he will also be hybrid. And let's see his animation. Is okay. And then Joker's Madness on upgrade 7, a circle AoE, pretty decent range, and then he's going to have an ability once you max him out. He is going to cost 804,000 to max out, and this is his max stat, 726 million, around 70 range, and almost 6 second SPA. No new passive, but a new ability called Pulling Your Heartstrings. Upon activation, deal 3 times damage to all enemies in range, apply Wind Shear, rewind enemies in range for 15 seconds with a 30-second cooldown per enemies, and if enemy has left this unit range, deal 3 times damage and stun them for 50 seconds. So this is actually a pretty good ability as a support unit. I think HISOKA will be competing with what's his name again? Law for support. Law is better for damage wise, but for support wise, HISOKA might be on top, because the problem with Law is that his ability only work on unit 3 times. That's it. After you use the ability on the unit 3 times, it doesn't work anymore. You cannot teleport the enemy back. But with this one, as long as the enemy is in his range, the enemy will kept getting rewinded every time you use this ability. So yeah, so let's actually see the ability in action. So let's let the enemy walk in range. And oh, I forgot that the ability actually deal damage. Well, at least we know that the ability work, at least. Okay, so for the next character that I'm gonna be showcasing now, it's going to be CHROLLO. I'm gonna be placing him down in a second, in around 10 seconds. I wanna see the ability. Okay, so CHROLLO, let's place him down. He's going to be another ground only character on placement. He's going to deal bleed, glitch, defense, max skill tree, which is max skill tree on the critical skill tree, and then he's going to be a physical character, 2000 on placement, a dark character. His placement damage is 2.8 million, around 70 range almost, 3 second SPA. Okay, and he's going to have 2 passive again on placement, similar to HISOKA. The first one is called Fish Zone. Once 10 plus enemies are in range, this passive activated for 100 seconds. Upon activation, every 10 seconds, target 5 random enemies in range, dealing 50% damage and stun them for 5 seconds. If the enemy chosen is the strongest enemy in range, drain 1% max HP cap of 100 billion and deal 300% damage and stun them for 10 seconds. And once the 60 seconds has ended, he will deal 500% damage to all enemies in range, apply bleed, and gain 15% range for 20 seconds. And this passive has a 60 second cooldown. His second passive is called Bandit Secret. For every enemy killed in range during the duration of Fish Zone, has a 0.5% chance to collect a bookmark, cap of 1 per indoor fish activation, and 2% chance if the enemy killed is a boss. And for every bookmark attained, it will basically increase his damage and range, which will cap at 15%. And then upon getting a bookmark, unlock a skill called Thief ability once you max him out. So yeah. And then he's going to be a full AoE, pretty nice. And yeah. He's going to gain 2 ability once you max him out. His max damage is around 463 million, 80 range, and 6 second SPA. The first one is called Light and Dark, which will make it so that upon activation, apply Unstable to enemies in range for 30 seconds and has a 50% chance to apply Light Tag or Dark Tag. For Light Tag, it will basically, after 20 seconds, deal 200% damage and apply Burn. But for Dark, it will apply Fear instead. And then if there are more than 5 enemies in range with Light and Dark, apply Detonation in range and instantly deal effect of Light and Dark. And then lastly, his second ability, Skill Thief. Upon activation, choose one of the abilities shown on the list and gain the chosen ability. If the ability has been used in Phantom Boss's range, Phantom Bosses has dealt at least 150 billion damage, total damage, and Phantom Bosses has at least 300 kill. So yeah. Upon activation of the Stolen ability, if the ability has a global cooldown, lose the ability and stun CHROLLO for 30 seconds, and then once the stun is lifted, he will nerf himself by 75% damage and for 60 seconds. But if the ability has a local cooldown, it can be used twice, but after the second use, loses the ability and stun CHROLLO himself for 10 seconds, and then once the stun ends, he will nerf himself for 25% damage for 60 seconds instead of 75. So yeah. So basically with CHROLLO, he's going to be like another support character, and how you use him is that he will basically copy a unit ability in range, and then he will be able to use the ability. So yeah, that's pretty good as a support character. So yeah. Now I can't really use the ability now because CHROLLO hasn't met any of the requirement, which is deal 150 billion damage total and at least has 300 kill. So yeah, so I can't really use the ability to show you guys. So let's just move on to the next character, which is going to be Gon. So let's place Gon down. Now Gon is actually going to be a pretty complicated character to explain, which is why I'm going to max him out now. He's going to be full AoE, and then this is his stat: 1.12 billion damage on avatar, 62 range, 11 second SPA. And he has like a couple of passive, which is 3. Rock, every 3 attack, deal 25% damage on the following attack, and plus 25% crit damage on the following attack. For Paper, every 5 attack, gain 10% damage on the following attack, and 20% range, and inflict burn. But he will also lose minus 25% crit damage for 2 attack. And lastly for Scissor, every 10 attack gains 15% damage but loses 15% SPA, and he will also inflict bleed. So that's for the passive, which is rock paper scissor. And then for the ability, for every kill slash takedown gain, add 0.5% damage to this ability, which does not have any cap. And also add 0.025% range to this ability, which will cap at 100%. Upon activation, gain the damage and range accumulated as a buff for the next 10 attacks, so similar to Garp, Galaxy Impact. And every attack dealt in this buff state increase attack counter by 1. Once the fifth attack in this state gain an ability. So yeah, let's use the ability. And then as you can see, attack counter 1. So which we need to wait until 10 to actually see the next ability. So he's on 2 right now. So as you can see, his damage keep going up and up and up. So yeah, but he's also slowly going down the more attack counter he has. And then once the attack counter hits 10, he will have an ability. So yeah, which we will see what the N ability does once he actually has it already. Okay, so this is the ability: deal 1 trillion damage time current attack counter, which is this one. Come on, man, I was reading it. What the? I was reading it. Will he go back to 5 or 1? I guess we have to restart with him then. See, this is why I don't really like this current Gon. It's kind of really annoying to use. Oh great, we can't see what it does because he has a global cooldown. Well, I'm too lazy to restart the match, so let's just move on to KURAPIKA now. For KURAPIKA, he has a really bad trait. I have him with Golden, but this is his stat. He's going to be another... he's hybrid, okay. And then he's going to be fire and physical. His passive is every 10 seconds has a 0.15% chance to activate absolute time passive. And then for every enemies in range, increase the chance by 0.1%, which will cap at 5%. Now, what's it called? Let me place CHROLLO at the back. Absolute time. Upon activation, gain the following buff for 240 seconds. Unlock Judgment Chain. All chain have 50% less cooldown for duration of absolute time. Gain 20% range and damage. So yeah. So this is going to be really hard because we need to activate the absolute time passive, which has like 0.15% chance to activate it. So yeah, I don't really like all of the new character that they have like certain niche use. And then for chain, upon activation, choose between one of the 4 chain, gain 20% range and damage. So he has 3 chain. The first one is called Dowsing Chain, which will basically do a sprinter flying. He will basically turn into Maki from the JJK one. And for Jail Chain, stun enemies in range for 15 seconds and apply Race Trick. And for Steel one, it will basically, if an enemy in range has a status effect, steal status effect for 60 seconds. If absolute time is active, keep the status effect. So yeah, so let's use this one. So as you can see, really good. Currently he's on chain 1, which is absolute time, as you can see right here. Wait, no, Dowsing Chain, there you go. For Judgment Chain, which the one we just got, is for the next 20 seconds. Enemies that go below 30% HP have a 1% chance to instantly die. So it's basically like an instant kill, but has a really low chance. Now let's move on to the next character, which is going to be KILLUA and his brother, the Needle Assassin. So let's equip KILLUA, having with Avatar, and Needle Assassin. So this is the last 2 characters from the update. And let me place my farm down, and let's do the showcase on KILLUA first, because I kinda use KILLUA a little bit. As you can see, he has 8,000 kill already, because you kinda required to use him for one of the quests. So KILLUA, he's going to be Avatar, physical attack, water, and he's going to have a static meter. And he will also deal electrified. He has 1 million damage, 3.8 second SPA, and 34 range. And he has 2 passive. The first one is called Capacitance. KILLUA attack have a 25% chance to apply bolt on the following attack. Each time KILLUA applies bolt, gain 1 static, and then gain buff based on the following static threshold. If it's 50, faster attack and more range, and gain Godspeed and Whirlwind ability. If it's 100, faster attack again and more damage. If it's 150, faster attack and more range. So yeah, as you can see, he getting bolt randomly because he applies that electrified. And then for Chain Lightning, every time this unit attack an enemy affected by electrified, apply this effect to all enemies in range. So yeah, circle AoE. And then for Godspeed, money, I need money, game, give me money. There you go. And he will also gain an ability once you max him out, and you need to be at least 50 static to actually use the ability. So yeah, I need money, game, give me money, game. There you go. Godspeed Whirlwind. Upon activation, deal 100% damage, time the static stack, which is this one. Apply bolt of that damage, lose 15% SPA, and gain more range. So you want to use this ability on auto. So yeah, that's KILLUA. Let's move on to the next character, which is the Needle Assassin. He doesn't have any trait, triple S everything again, hybrid, dark, and physical. A slingshot, horrible circle AoE. What is that? That is Usopp level circle AoE, and human needle. So he's going to have like 2 passive and 1 ability. The ability that you get on placement, upon activation, disable control freak passive, which is this one. Gain more range, and AoE can now hit 5 enemies. This ability lasts until it uses again. Needle Paranoia. Each attack has a 2% chance to implant a needle on an enemy. When an enemy is implanted with a needle, plus 10% debuffing status effect, duration, and apply fear. Needle break after 30 seconds, dealing 2x damage and applying hemorrhage. Needle has a 60-second cooldown per enemy. And for Control Freak, this is a kind of big one. Once a boss enters the map, every 30 seconds, implant a needle on a random unit in range and upon implanting a needle on a unit, implanted unit loses 10% damage and gain 40% chance to self-stun for 2 seconds on every attack. If the implanted unit attack the boss 10 times before the needle expiration, remove the debuff from the needle and deal extra damage based on the threshold until needle expire. And then it will deal a certain amount of damage based on how many damage the unit deal. So yeah, so that's the entire unit from this update. Let me actually show all of them out. Gone. Kurapika. And then so out of all of these character, out of all of these 6 character, which one should you get? And the answer should be obvious. It's going to be HISOKA, but at the same time, HISOKA is the most difficult character to get out of anyone in this list. So my recommendation is that if you actually want to get any of the character here, get them, but I would not recommend actually getting glitch avatar or just spending any resource on them. Instead, save your resource, because the next update, it's going to be a godly update if you forget. So yeah, save your resource if you don't have a lot, or if you just don't look like you're not getting any of the units. So yeah. And also, if you actually want a unit at least from this update, like one unit, okay, if I have to pick one unit besides HISOKA, I have to say Kurapika. Kurapika might be the unit that you can get the easiest out of anyone here, that doesn't, involve an insane amount of grind, but also you get a good unit out of it. So yeah, so get Kurapika. He's a drop from this Act 6 of the story, if I'm correct. And then for his item, you just get them from the legend stage. So yeah. And then for the rest of the character, get them for like collection, but don't actually try rolling stat or just getting any trait on them, because it's not worth it. They have decent to good damage, but terrible passive, and most of the time they have a very situational use. So yeah, overall this update has been probably one of the worst updates, not gonna lie. This has been a terrible update. For how hard the grind is for this update, the unit is a terrible. All of the unit is terrible from this update. So yeah, that's all for this video. I would like to say thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.